Okay, today we're going to make a keto slice. This is an awesome recipe, very simple. I just use a tray like this. It is non-stick, but the key factor is, yes Marcellus, is that the base comes out. I've got my beautiful assistant here, Marcellus. He does have a box to stand on. And we're going to make this awesome slice. This I usually cut into 36 in the gym, so it works quite well. To portion it up. This is desiccated coconut. That's going to go in the base and the top. So we've got a pretty basic recipe. Normally I just go by feel, but I wrote it down so that way I make sure that it's accurate for you guys and easy to follow. So we're going to make the base first. I've got a Robo food processor. These are a bit more expensive, only because I had the cafe here and we blew up quite a few, just using them very frequently. With just a basic food processor, but it is worth getting a decent one because you've got so many different things that you can use that are really useful. Make delicious desserts like we're going to do today. So let's get started with the base. So I just put down here, I've got 1/2 cup desiccated coconut, 12 dates, and they're only very small dates, which I'll show you in a sec. We've got 1/2 cup of coconut oil, 1/2 cup of almonds, 1/2 cup of this seed mix. It's an omega mix with sunflowers, potatoes, bit of chia, it's got sesame, linseed, then we've got a tablespoon of salt. So that's going to be our base. The top is going to have a cup of macadamias, 500 grams of pasture butter, 1/2 cup of mesquite powder, so it's going to be a caramel style one. 1/2 cup of desiccated coconut, 2 cups of desiccated coconut on the top. And we use some hot water with that. We're just going to use around 500 mils, probably a bit less, but you just got to go by feel and see how that solution comes up, if it gets a nice consistency. 6 dates only in the top. We've got the mesquite there, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1/2 cup of heather flowers. It gives it a nice flavour. If you can't get that, just leave that part out. I just got a whole heap of them, organic flowers that my wife got to do the decorations on the organic dessert, so they've got a nice flavour and aroma that they add to it, so it's quite cool. And then we've just got another 1/2 cup of coconut oil. If you were going strict keto, like full hardcore with it, or you're a bit more sensitive to carbs, you could leave the dates out altogether. It does make it a little bit dry, and it doesn't make it as palatable for everybody else. For me, I don't mind it, I like it like that. Yes, I like it like that. But for others, and to make it sellable and palatable for new people, it's got the dates in it, but it's a very small amount. So you'll see the dates that I'm going to use here. Dates, yes, you like sugar. So they're only quite small there. So let's pop those in anyway. We're only going to use 12 in the base. They're organic. All the ingredients I've got here are organic, so it's quite simple for this to stay organic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going for 12. There's 9 and 12. All up done. We'll get that closed. Okay, then we're going to go 1/2 cup of this seed mix. 1/2 cup. Yes. Yes. Ooh, a little bit more. Maybe 2/3 of a cup. What do you reckon? A bit more crunchy. Let's get our desiccated coconut. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, a little bit less. Alright, probably get a touch more in there. So probably actually around a cup. Let's change that recipe. Okay, let's get these almonds. Yeah. Almonds. Work that in there, organic almonds. I'd actually prefer pecans, so once this bag finishes I'm just going to stay on pecans because they've got more fat. I just finished these off. Pecans weren't available. They are a bit harder to get organic pecans. They're just Australian grown. It's the only thing that's not really organic. Let's get that salt in there, buddy. Don't forget the salt brings out the sweetness. Full tablespoon. Some people find it's a bit strong, but Definitely worth redoing salt fix. Worth getting that salt into you. Now we've got coconut oil, yes. Let's get that. We'll just pour it in. It's a bit warmer here today, so it is liquid. At 21-degree point where it melts. So once we pass that, we get liquid. So I'm just going to guesstimate that size, a half a cup, probably a little bit more. And then my favourite tool in the kitchen is my super scraper. Save all the fat, make it easy to clean up. What do you reckon, Marcel? Let's give it a spin. Spin, let's see how this comes out. Wow, we want it fairly liquid. If it is colder, the coconut oil is liquid, so you could put a little bit of warm water in there just to make it easier. Quicker, so you don't have to use as much electricity, because once you start spinning this guy, it's going to heat up anyway. I've let that just puree a little bit longer. I did add a little bit more coconut oil just to smooth it out. You want to make it as easy as possible to pour, so it's quick and efficient. And then you use your trusted kitchen tool, the super scraper, to get it all out. These are great, that way there's no fat or anything left. But it doesn't matter too much because I'm not going to make the top straight away. The other good friend in the kitchen is the hot water when you're using coconut oil and all these fats. Just so it makes it easy to keep surfaces clean, but also you get minimal waste. From it going down the sink if you're just using it while you're processing. So that way you don't waste any of these good nutritious fats in the washing up process. So here I just flatten it out, nice and simple, spread it over. Then I'm going to chuck that in the fridge till it sets to pour the top in. Pretty simple. Give you a quick look. I'm just going to give it a bit of a bang on the bench so it flattens out. So just that basic technique to flatten it out, spread it. Okay, so we're back to do the top of it. I've just boiled some water, filtered water in here. I've got 500 mils in there, but I'll probably only use about half of that. So let's chuck those dates in. First is the 6 organic dates. I've got the pastured butter here, which I'll cut in half. So I need the hot water to melt the butter. Whoa, watch out, close that fridge, buddy. So we'll drop that, whack that in there. So the hot water will allow that to melt pretty easy. Yes, it will. Yeah, no PowerPoints. You keep them away from the PowerPoints. You can leave that one out. You don't need to put that in. So we're going to whack the butter in. Yeah. And again, use that trusty friend. Scrape off the butter. Makes it very efficient. Nice and simple. So 500 grams of organic pastured butter. So we'll make it pretty fatty, nice and creamy. Good thing about butter, I mean it's much cheaper to get organic pastured butter than it is to get cream, but you're getting most of the benefits. And then you can buy it in bulk and it's going to last longer. So I really don't bother with cream. I don't have a little bit of a dairy sensitivity if I have lots of milk and yogurt, but I can tolerate it pretty well. But the butter, most people are fairly cool with. You could use ghee if you did have a high sensitivity to butter. So that butter's in there, there's macadamias in there. These are going to make it nice and fatty and creamy as well. Let's put that cup in. Oh yeah, that's going to be awesome. Go out of the way. Let's go for the 2 cups of these. So the desiccated coconut's going to need that hot water to to turn it into a cream. So I'm big on using the desiccated coconut over coconut cream. To get that and make it yourself, it's much better for the world to transport that than it is to transport water over the planet in cans. It doesn't make any sense. So we get that tablespoon of salt. Half a cup of mesquite. Again, just like the dates, if you want to make a bit more keto, you use a bit less of this. So I'm going to do like 4 heaped tablespoons, maybe 5. Get that full half cup. Gives it a nice caramel flavour. But you could do any flavour you want. You know, usually I do a chocolate macadamia, it's pretty popular. People like that. You can add all different flavours, so I'll do sometimes chocolate. Macadamia and then put a bit of peppermint oil, so it's like chopped mint. But all these bulk goods are great because you're getting it cheaper, and then I get the bulk goods and then I sell those to clients at a 25% markup, and just do a 1 day a week where they can drop off containers and there's only 1 day a week they can pick it up. So I'm not after classes and measuring and weighing and doing all that. I just do it 1 day a week when I do a veggie box pickup as well. So that way it's just a value add for the customer to get healthy, gives them access to this organic produce a lot cheaper than if they were just going to some of the more expensive health food shops. And then it also gets rid of that waste, so they're not using any packaging, extra packaging. We just have the packaging that comes over the larger amounts, which is going to be a lot more planet friendly as well, rather than having all this individualized packaging and then just using reusable containers. And then ideally glass, so that we're not getting the transfer from the plastics. So let's get this going. So that's going to have to go for a little bit, and then what I'm going to do is slowly pour that water in. If you put too much in too quick, it's going to go everywhere. Whenever you're using hot water, make sure if you seal something, that hot water is going to kind of pressure up. So you've got to make sure that you have the lid off so that hot air can escape the steam. So I'll pour that in slowly. This will take a little bit of time. I'll probably have to take the lid off a couple of times to stir it through. And I'll come back once that mixture's nice and smooth. Okay, so we've got our base here, it's set. Just pulled it out of the fridge. It's very important to make sure that you let it set hard. If you've got freezer space, yes, hard. Then put it in the freezer, because then that coconut oil will go hard enough so that way when you pour the top in, it doesn't melt the bottom. So you've got to pour it in quite fast. We don't need anything else from the fridge yet. We'll put it back in once we've poured it. So got that. Pour that in. And then same as with the base, you just spread it out. You want this to be obviously a bit runnier, because the top of it is going to be a smoother texture, so let it blend a bit longer. Plus the hot water really smooths it out. And the butter, coconut oil, all of that, which is quite nice. Very much looking forward to this week. So really spread that out over the whole base. So obviously if any of the ingredients are not quite right for you, just sub them for something else. It's important to just make it right for you. And I just vary the flavours each time I do it to keep it interesting for myself and for clients. And I'll just make it once a week. So when I make this, oh, that's very cool, Marcellus. It's building with the foam rollers. Very cool. When I make this once a week, I'll make all my mousses after this, so that way when I pour the hot water in here to clean it out, to save time, I'll just use that hot water and to not waste the resources. And the fat, I'll use that in my mousse. And then before I made this, I also made some nut butter. So that way I'm only using this once a week, because you don't want to have to waste time like this, wiping out, cleaning out, doing all that all the time. But hot water's definitely your friend when you're doing stuff like this. So I'm just going to spread this out. I'll do the same as I did for the base. I'll give it a good tap so it sets. And then you can sprinkle whatever you want on the top to make it look good. Important tip is not to sprinkle anything that's too hard, so when you go to cut it, it digs into the soft creamy layer on the top. That way it makes it a lot easier to cut. I cut this into 36 slices. Works quite well. Each slice ends up being around kind of 35 grams, I think, usually. So it makes it quite practical. I sell them for $6, so it's worth it for me. I get all my desserts for the week, so I usually have this and a mousse, one of these slices and a mousse, and then I'll use some of the nut butters that I make. So that nut butter is the same, pretty much the same as the base, or no almonds and no dates. Bit of extra coconut oil, but I'll make a different one each week to keep it interesting, and just enjoy the process of nourishing my body every day. These are also a great tool, not just for cleaning, but also because I fast until kind of 1 o'clock, so it's still only, you know, quarter to 12, and I don't want to break my fast when I'm making this. And an easy thing to happen when you're doing this is, as you make it, you're eating it, which is fine if you're not fasting. But if you've got a tool like that, you know, you don't have to use your fingers, and it's much easier. Although the smell is very much stimulating my digestion. So I'll give you one last clip, and we're going to see the finished product. No, it's going well. So here we have the finished product. I've dressed it with some heather flowers on the top as well, the same as what's inside. To pop it out, you just use a nice sharp knife, and you just want to get right down to those edges when you wrap around. I had it in the freezer, the little bar fridge I've got. It's got a little freezer in it that fits this in perfectly. But you can use the fridge as well. It just makes it a bit quicker. But while I was waiting for it to set, I did my massage ball, foam roller, did my full stretch routine, did some hang handstands. That's quite cool. But in the 2.5 hours, 2 hours we've been here, done our nut butter, done 3 litres of chocolate mousse, and I've got that to take home with me. And then I've got this slice, so every slice is probably around 35 grams, about just over 3 litres of ingredients, or 3 kilos in there, and then 36 slices. So it's pretty good. Cut that up. I just do a 6 by 6 to get that 36, so I just use a longer knife, come along like that, and then we just turn it. I use the edge of the sink, so that way I don't have to actually touch the actual slice itself. I can just pull it across, lower, pull it across, lower, so I'm not grabbing the sides of it. Makes it a lot easier. And then I just find that middle point with the knife, come over the top of it, and then come down like that, and then get 2 lines in between that to get my 6 across. Pretty simple. And then once I put that back in the fridge, it's going to set again. Because of the coconut oil being quite heat sensitive or temperature sensitive, it actually is quite good because you can work with it as long as you've got a fridge type deal. If you didn't, you'd have to use something that would be a bit more stable. You could use the gelatin, use less coconut oil, use cacao butter in it, so that way it's more room temperature safe. Yes, we're going, we're almost done. So yeah, really simple, but yeah, getting out those bulk goods for your clients, and then making these type of things, sharing the recipes with them. And then if you just do like a 25% margin on the bulk goods, and they can come and pick it up from you once a week, so you're not kind of handling the stuff every day. Make some stuff like this. This is all really good for getting them healthy, teaching them how to make nice healthy things, as well as, you know, it's a business expense for you, so that way essentially your business is purchasing all the food that you're providing, especially if you're doing veggie boxes and then you're doing delivered meat or frozen meat, or doing cow share type deals. And then that way you can get your overheads right down at the same time for yourself, but at the same time they're all a business expense anyway, as well as getting all these people healthy and getting a really nice healthy community of people that are actually getting results. Because the movement side of things is great. It really helps people, you know, mobilize tissues, realign the posture, allow them to breathe better, all of that. But then the tissue quality is not just the movement loading, but also, you know, what you're actually consuming to replace cells on a daily basis. So if you get that whole kind of model together, it's quite profitable, quite simple, plus it's a great service for your clients. All right, see you soon.